to set up for Elyoya and Jojo to have that innate synergy. Engage supports for Alvaro, things like the Rel, the Leona, the Rakan. We'll see how high they are. And the Vi, as we were just talking about, going to be taken away. I wonder if that does lead towards a Xin Zhao priority, or maybe even an Ahri early pick to take it away from Knight now that the Annie has been taken off the board.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, with the Vi off the table, are you willing to just blind the Ahri into someone like Knight? Obviously Annie is gone, one of those answers that can be pretty difficult to play into, but instead it is going to be the Yone. This is obviously a big pick for Jojo, especially his time in NA. He is always known as a melee mid laner, a guy who really is a specialist on the Sylas, the Akali. The Yone really can excel on those champions, and this is a champion that has been consistently banned out through all of MSI.
Ooh, I think KOI also want the Gwen. It's one of Myrwn's personal favorites. He didn't have the best performances on it in playoffs, but throughout his career, it's been something that he's always lent towards. I wonder if KOI are now thinking about a Sejuani Gwen topside, something that synergizes well. It is obviously very short range, but it's very powerful in terms of the early skirmishes. As BLG have gone for the Rumble on the top side, I think Bin, it seems that lots of pundits have mixed opinions on Bin's Rumble, but at the very least so far at this tournament, he's been stellar on the champion. His Rumble, his use of the Rumble ultimates have been very impactful. Ooh, but the Galio responds instead, so they're not going to go for the Gwen even though it was left open. Instead, they want to have that Galio counter pick.
Yep, Galio, standard answer here for the Rumble. I do also really like it as a pairing with the Yone, because the Yone can fly in with the ultimate, and then Galio comes in over the top, really allows you to put pressure onto that back line here. A lot of power picks here for MKOI in the first game, being able to get the Galio answer, being able to get that Varus, the most highly prized AD carry in the patch these days. It is going to be the Aurora answer, though, from Knight, and we'll see how he looks on it, because, gotta say, Shanks was scary yesterday.
I think BLG have gotten themselves a very comfortable top side. It's a very nice transition from the early into the mid game. They spike incredibly hard in the mid game. They can also go for a bit more of a scaling bot lane if they want to have some late game insurance, but also this is a type of composition that gives them a lot of proactivity in the early game. This is a team that loves to try and force those early dives on side lanes. They love to try and skirmish you early, and this is also just a great matchup for the Aurora in the mid lane. So I think BLG have started off strong. They're going to remove the Xin Zhao away from the pool. I think they should also consider something like the Maokai or the Sejuani. We consider them kind of EU classics, the kind of safe defaults that just provide a lot of teamfight value, and also both that can synergize very well with the Yone as well.
See, Xin taken off the table. Jin as an answering ban here.
MF is probably going to follow as well.
Yep, it is an LPL classic. Definitely something that they do play really, really well. It is one of the most played for Elk in the LPL. Azael, of course, I think the champion that he is most well known for, but can be considered to be a fairly difficult matchup into the Varus, who are going to be getting pushed in. So instead it is going to be that Azael ban. So they are really just trying to take away comfort here from Elk.
Of course, the AD carry meta right now is very open. It feels like you have so many options available to you. They may look to try and grab an early Rel if they want a little bit more engaged to also deny that away from KOI. Of course, the bot lane pool is still very open, but we discussed the MF just provides you with a lot of team fight value, very solid laning into the Varus as well. And while it can still fall short in the matchup, depending on what support you decide to go for, it just, again, it kind of synergizes nicely with this very powerful mid-game spike that BLG's composition is going for.
Absolutely, and once you get your Bloodthirster, you get that one item, we don't obviously know if Supa is going to play poke or if he is going to play on hit, but you can shrug off any poke that is going to be coming through from that Varus once you're on your Bloodthirster. And Aurora sets up really, really well, being able to go in, throw down the ulti, and being able to actually set that up with the bullet time. You have the Pantheon ult, you have the Rumble ult. The only thing they really need to pair it all together is something like that Rel, and I think that's why we see kind of the pre-counter pick of the Alistar. MKOI saying, we know where you are looking to go, and we are going to try to answer that in advance. I don't think we would get a Nico here. It would really help out for the 2v2, so if they really want to put priority on that 2v2, I think it makes sense, but they are fairly AP heavy, and they don't have really much of a front line, so something like a more traditional hard engage support makes sense to me, and Rakan definitely fits the bill.
A lot more mobility on the engage coming through from the Rakan, being able to lock down both the Yone and potentially Varus on the back line, who in this composition I wouldn't be surprised to see him play the poke, but then I think about the amount of damage that they have. Galio's, yeah, exactly. If you do go for the poke, I don't think you're going to be very reliant on Jojo. If they do go for the poke build, it's likely that we'll get the AP Maokai as well, just to add to the damage portfolio from the side of MKOI. But I will say that this is a very EU draft that they've gone for. The Maokai priority paired alongside the Yone. This is something we saw a huge amount domestically. The Varus also just a very strong laner. But I feel like BLG responded well. They've gotten good matchups kind of across the board. And I do feel like that, again, we talked a lot about this mid-game spike.
That's a banger poke.
I want to see BLG be proactive in the early game. Set up through those early dives, try and leverage the fact that you're going to have push in the early game, and look to try and fight and skirmish against a KOI who probably want to scale a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we could see Galio also go a more aggressive build. You know, if they want to go poke, you can go Riftmaker and things like that to really add in the damage. Because BLG, you know, yes, they have a lot of damage, but they are not that tanky either. So you don't need to have incredibly high DPS on the MKOI side. It's not like there's a sign or something that you're having to punch through. About as tanky as it gets really is the Pantheon. So it's not going to be, I think, too much of an issue there. Have to see how MKOI is going to come out in this game number one. Both G2 and FlyQuest were able to come out hot in their series, take down that first game, and then it was the gentleman's sweep. 3 straight games going the other way. So we'll see if it is going to be a repeat or if MKOI can really step up and bring us into this new era of the LEC. Show us that it is no longer the time for G2. It is the time for MKOI to take center stage.
Honestly, I'm just really excited to see Jojo playing on the international stage representing EU, but also just the fact that he's here in his home country. It's a really big opportunity, and right now he's working with Elyoya to get a bit of information in the early game. Deep ward has been placed by BLG on the bot side of the map, but so far nothing too chaotic. Information gathering is the main priority here for MKOI and BLG.
It is going to be Halo Blade, so it won't be common, but should be lethality. But talk me through it, Vedi, MKOI.
I mean, at the beginning of this year, we saw the introduction of Jojo. While their winter split wasn't the strongest performance, coming into spring, they were really competing at the top of the table. And then coming into playoffs as the 3rd seed, they had a very impressive run. They took down winter champions KC in an intense 5-game series. And even though they did lose in the first round to G2, they made it back through the lower bracket, defeating KOI again, and then ultimately defeating G2 in the finals. The one thing that they were ultimately praised for was their very good preparation and just the fact that a lot of the individuals stood out. You talked about how Supa developed a lot, but we really saw the impact of the Alvaro Elyoya synergy that I think really brought them into the 1st seed here coming into this tournament.
Absolutely, and it has been core to a lot of their success. The fact that this jungle support duo has been so impactful. You know, when I watched the LEC playoffs, Elyoya was able to create such meaningful advantages, you know, keeping up in farm, still putting on pressure, being very efficient with his play and with his ganks, and when he is able to group up with Alvaro, it's really impressive to see. So we'll see if they can get out to a good early start here. Knight, of course, will have the push, range versus melee, that is no surprise, but Jojo is going to be playing Fleet, Second Wind, as well as D-Shield, so he's just trying to avoid as much damage as possible, but he is already taking a hurting here early on from Knight.
Knight is playing the lane incredibly well. It's a really tough matchup, as you are highlighting, but Jojo not doing too bad of a job. Beichuan has cleared his full top side, and now he's looking for some information in the bot side jungle.
Yeah, Beichuan will be spotted moving in here. Elyoya does have his smite and is going to have to use it. He will lose the one little chicken, but then Will just heading down towards the Krugs. You can see On, though, with the push that they had in bot lane, is going to be here and helping Beichuan. They want to put the pressure on. They have the push in bot, they have the push in mid, and they're going to flash forward. Great reaction there, though, from Alvaro. Able to trade his flash out, not take much damage off the back of that. Now Supa is coming over here. They spot out Elk, but the Krug is already stolen. We'll see how many little ones Elyoya can get. Looks like just the one, so BLG definitely effective on the invade, utilizing the early power that they drafted for and getting in the face of this Maokai.
Just love the use of the early power. This is exactly what we wanted to see from BLG. The fact that they had the push in bot, they have full control over mid, and it means that the rest of KOI can't really do much to help their jungler out. Elyoya will lose out a little bit, but thanks to the sapling, he was able to get quite a few of the small Krugs. It's likely that he's going to get double scuttled, though. So in terms of early experience, we expect Beichuan to have that early advantage. As Jojo, he's really starting to feel the hurt now as more levels are secured by Knight. Elyoya, though, he's fishing.
Elyoya is going to look here. Knight will try to escape. We'll see if Elyoya wants to commit the flash. Is going to have to actually get that out from Knight. So Knight definitely getting nervous there about a potential engage. Felt like if he got locked down, he would have gone down. But this is great. The relief of pressure there for Jojo. means he will be able to push this in. And Elyoya will make sure that it does crash. Jojo will get a good base off here, and despite the fact that he was low on health, he was getting pushed in, it doesn't matter because he kept his farm up. He's getting the base off, no problem here. And now Elyoya has to be a bit careful. Beichuan, no flash available, but of course, doesn't want to overextend.
A much-needed assist comes through from Elyoya. He will secure that topside crab. So even though Beichuan does have a bit of a camp lead for now, the swap will come through from KOI. So they're getting out of the rough matchup on the bot side of the map. They're going to be looking to put a bit of pressure onto Bin.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to do that. Jojo buying some early MR here. Elyoya going up towards that top side. Bin does have the flash. We'll see if he even uses it. Feels like he's kind of accepting his fate here a little bit. Alvaro going to go in. The combo will come through. He's rooted up. Bin still holding on. Going to be stunned up and knocked down. Supa claims first blood on the top side.
It's an easy first blood picked up by KOI. As you highlighted, Bin, it felt like that there was an opportunity for him to flash, but I felt the positioning of Alvaro meant that he was going to flash in response. Jojo in a bit of danger, will take a chunk of damage. But again, the deficit that he's in, he's kind of held for now. About 5 CS, about a wave is what he's lost overall, which at the end of the day, considering the matchup, totally is, yeah, as you rightly said, completely fine. Elk needs to be careful. The wave is in a very unfortunate spot, but on his way to help secure this wave for Elk, and now he should be completely fine. So BLG not wanting to put Bin under any more pressure. They will return back to the standard lane matchups.
Yeah, and you can see Elk already with that early Vamp Scepter here, going to be shrugging off a lot of the poke that they're looking for. Knight is just going to let the ulti go here as in comes Beichuan. Jojo trying to get back to the tower. Will be able to avoid the rest of that damage coming through from Beichuan. Just a Comet Spear to the back, but Jojo trades his ult, does get out. Myrwn, nice trade here onto Bin. Bin overheats, but can't get much done off the back of that.
While we've been watching the action, Beichuan was stealing away camps. He did steal away the respawn of the Raptors from Elyoya, so he's building up a bit of an advantage over Elyoya in terms of experience. He's also going to grab the bot crab, and I think he convert this into the dragon as well. They know that Elyoya has to path back towards the top side of the map, and so there's not going to really be any contest here. So, as we expected, BLG with that early game control, even though they conceded first blood, they still hold a lot of map control and advantages with the pressure that they have in the 2v2 and in the mid lane matchup.
Yeah, it's just been all about these pushing lanes here, making sure that they are securing the push. You can see the weirding connecting there onto Jojo, down quite low. We'll have to go back to base. You know, Bin even used the equalizer on the wave to make sure the bot was pushed in so he could rotate over towards that dragon, help out Beichuan. Making no doubt about it, are going to be able to grab that early dragon here, but the gold, of course, is dead even. MKOI still sitting in a good spot as Elyoya is going to head up towards that top side. Try to see if he can find an opportunity to put on some more pressure.
I also misspoke earlier. I thought that Beichuan had secured the bot crab, but it actually only just respawned now. In any case, dragon secured. Grubs is going to be spawning in about 40 seconds. The bot lanes are already on the top side of the map. It's going to be a bit awkward for Elyoya because those bot side camps are going to be respawning soon. But he needs to be on the top side of the map ready to contest this objective. An early base is going to come through from Supa to make sure that they can spend what they can ahead of the fight that's going to be coming soon. Jojo with the Zerka's Greaves. I will say that for KOI, I don't know if they want to fight early. It might be better for them to concede. Obviously, giving away all of the grubs is not ideal, but with this composition, I don't think that it spikes super hard this early, in contrast to what BLG have. Like Pantheon, even without any items, it's a very tough opponent to skirmish against. The Aurora, with the amount of burst that she has available, it's a scary fight that KOI have to be cautious about how they approach.
Absolutely. BLG take a plate down topside, but no one was in range to actually get it, so it looked like that gold was just kind of thrown out into the ether. Jojo, is still under a little bit of pressure here, but because it is double AP soul laners, things like Wits End, things like, Ma becoming extremely effective here. He is just sitting on the null magic mantle for now, but I think Jojo is going to become a problem in the side lane for BLG later on, as long as he does not fall behind, but they're going to look for a play here. Jojo, great buffer out on the Q3, as that was Beichuan's flash in for the stun, but Jojo is ready and equal to the task.
Something we'll often see BLG do is try and fight you ahead of the objective to burn that HP
Here
down.
comes the Pantheon ult. They're going to be looking for Supa. He is getting surrounded by all sides. Supa out of position, does flash back, trying to get through Knight, but Knight will not allow it to happen. Grabs the first kill of the fight. Jojo trying to join up. Elyoya is going to have to run for it, though, as On goes in. Going to be Bramble smash back. Elyoya slowed up, knocked down. It's a double kill there for Knight, as Elyoya tries to flash out, but cannot get away from the mid laner.
This is the risk that we were talking about at this point in the game. BLG's champions just love to skirmish, and the fact that Knight picks up both kills is massive for BLG. Knight really being set up for success now. He was already winning out on the 1v1, and now that matchup is going to get much, much harder. The good news for KOI is they, at the very least, do deny one grub, but that Feats of Warfare is still going to be secured by BLG. So we look back, the initial engage, the flash that was used in the mid lane, it means that with the Pantheon ultimate, they can turn their attention towards the river, and they just turn their attention onto Supa. He very quickly flashes. Unfortunately, he's still being collapsed from both sides, so even though he flashes into the arms of Knight, making it an easy pickup. Elyoya does still have the flash, but he feels like if he flashes early, he's not going to get away to safety, but then Elk flashes in to secure that extra bit of damage needed. Nice indeed.
Yeah, unfortunate setup there for MKOI. You know, they get over, they want to try to force on these grubs, but Supa just got surrounded immediately, you know, wasn't really able to be helped out. And this is the tail of the tape for Knight versus Jojo. Knight obviously with a massive amount of experience, you know, both in Tier 1 as well as internationally, has been incredible for the team for such a long time, and now getting out to that early advantage is going to be a problem.
It certainly is. Knight is a player that you really cannot afford to underestimate. Incredibly talented, still having a very strong split overall. Even if his finals weren't the best performance, Knight is still a standout player. Right now he's holding the helm in the mid lane as Jojo goes 2v1 on the bot side of the map to try and get out of the matchup. This means that KOI can put a little bit more pressure onto the Aurora, who's sitting on the double Haunting Guys build that we've been seeing a lot more. Elyoya hovering around the bot side of the map. I wonder if there's an opportunity for a play here.
Oh, this could be problems here for Myrwn. We're going to see Bin overheat, drop the equalizer, but Myrwn actually just chilling, just completely walks it out. Not phased whatsoever here. Had the Aftershock ready and does have a lot of MR built up. As Jojo unable to stop the recall there from On. Of course, the passive shielding made it so that you are not actually taking any damage, and if you are shielded, it will not interrupt your recall.
Knight pathing towards the bot side of the map. I wonder if they are going to initiate the swap here. Knight's been doing super well in the 1v1. That Blade of the Ruin King spike is the one that we always keep our eyes on when playing the Yone, just because of how significant it is for the champion. I think it does change the dynamics of the matchup as well, just because he can stay in the extended fight. But we have to turn our attention to the Dragon now, as it started off by BLG, and I think KOI, they're just not in a position to contest right now. The Sundered Sky already being completed by Beichuan. It would be a very dangerous fight for them to take. Yeah,
absolutely agree. But BLG just keeping the pressure on here. They take 2 out of 3 grubs. They grab 2 early dragons here. And they're not going to give MKOI a lot of time to sit back. This is something they did so well in the play-ins. Also stacking dragons early often, and now they are going to be potentially looking for a play here in towards Supa. Supa has no flash, and it looks like he has no way out. Beichuan waiting and stabs him in the back to grab another kill. It's Feat of Warfare for BLG.
Good use of the Pantheon ultimate to find another pick in the mid lane. Well executed by BLG as they get themselves another kill. Now it looks like Jojo might be the target. Knight getting some good chip damage down.
Alvaro is here, and I don't think they're going to try to go for the dive with the Alistar around. Jojo will be able to clear out this wave, but BLG continuing to push the pace. Beichuan now moving in here, getting in the face of Elyoya. And Elyoya will be able to defend with the help of his Galio moving down here, but again, it's just back and forth. BLG constantly moving in, staying in the face of MKOI, not allowing them to get comfortable.
I love how Beichuan is playing this.
Oh, flash forward there from Alvaro, going to be able to knock him back. Flash out, though, from Knight. Will get into safety, takes another tower shot on the exit. But they couldn't quite lair the CC. The ultimate came in from the Yone just a split second too late after that beautiful engage from Alvaro. But it is a trade of ultis, it's a trade of flashes, so still a nice aggressive play from MKOI, and now they're going to look here for Elk. Elk trying to kite back, flash forward there from Elyoya, does cleanse out on the Twisted Advance, and is able to flash out to safety. He's going to have to dodge as he can't! Supa still had the stacks, gets him with the piercing arrow. Big kill there for MKOI.
Throws the thumbs up, and KOI starting to get active on the map. They find a good play on the bot side. They'll find the flash in mid and they'll secure themselves a kill. The gold gap still heavily in favor of BLG, largely sitting on that mid-jungle duo. But the more opportunities KOI find, the more opportunities they have to stall this game out, and that's what they're looking for, time. They know in the team fights later into the game, they will have ways to turn this game around. They just have to weather the storm. Herald going to be spawning in a minute's time. But as we look back at this play, Elk, he just steps up a little too far. He thinks he's safe. You look at the vision coverage on the minimap and he feels very safe. But a nice commitment from Elyoya. Commits the flash W first to get the cleanse out early so that the root from the ulti still has value. And then Supa finds the snipe onto Elk. There's not much that he can do to sidestep that. Bit of frustration from the side of the coaching staff of BLG.
That was me yesterday.
But they still hold on to the lead for now.
They do. Elk still had those blight stacks from the Varus, so of course the piercing arrow going to do a ton of damage if it did connect. And Supa happy to collect his second kill here of the game. The gold lead, I don't think that much of a concern. To me, you know, the real concern is going to be the dragon stacking, because there's not going to be a lot of time here for MKOI to scale up, to sit back. It is 2 minutes until that third dragon, and I'm not sure you want to give BLG the opportunity to just have a free soul point here, because that is going to be looming over you for the rest of the game.
I'm looking at the items of Jojo, and he is very close to that completed Blade of the Ruined King. With the Herald being spawned and the Prio that BLG still have, they've been utilizing it all game. We've been talking extensively about it. Their bot lane plus their mid laner pushing in these waves, giving Beichuan so much control to do whatever he wants in the jungle. I think this is a very risky fight for KOI, especially given they can't really get control on the top side. But they're going to look for it anyway. Myrwn and Bin have the TP.
We'll see. BLG looks like they have this in a really good position. I think if MKOI go in, it will just be to die. So MKOI do decide to just back it up. I mean, Jojo's locked under his tower, doesn't even have his first item. I think it would have been an ill-advised fight. I really think we need to see MKOI, though, get to the dragon early, be the ones there first, get saplings in the brushes, make them walk through this AP Maokai and his poke, as well as the Varus poke. That is the way you get that recipe for success here for MKOI. If they are the ones having to face check into a BLG that's already set up, I think it's going to be so hard.
Jojo was able to complete his Blade of the Ruined King ahead of the dragon spawning in 45 seconds. That's a really nice item for him to pick up. Of course, the Liandry's and the Horning guys being finished for Knight puts him in a very powerful position as well. And we've just reached that point in the game where it's that one item spike that we were talking about. And you're right, the dragon is an important one, because if KOI concede this, then it will be sole point and they won't have a choice but to fight that one. So if they can find a fight here where the gap isn't too significant, it will ease their pressure moving forward in the game. But BLG, they're ready to fight. They're looking for one.
They absolutely are, and they haven't allowed MKOI to get any wards in over by that dragon. They just have one over the wall, but their approach is going to be difficult as a result. And Supa takes a little bit of poke here. Only 5 seconds now until that dragon does spawn, so Supa's not going to have an opportunity to go back to base. You can see Elk was just happy to trade constantly with that completed Bloodthirster. He wants any fight you will give him because he's going to heal it right back up, and they will drop the Herald to your mid to make sure that MKOI has to respond to their pressure here.
Good control comes through from BLG. The ulti.
He's going to look here. Myrwn on the side. It is going to be Beichuan in a lot of trouble. He is locked down, and he might be knocked down. Try to take one with him. Not going to be able to do it. It's a shutdown there for Supa, as On and Elk will retreat. Great pick on the BLG jungler here. Knight, though, on the side, threatening with the weirding, does get about half of Alvaro's HP off, as Jojopyun already over on the dragon. Bin is just going to push topside. It looks like BLG aren't sure if they want to fight. But their 3 members are coming, and now they're going to commit the teleport in here from Bin. He's level 12. He has the equalizer, but they are going to be late, so they can only really look for the fight, if anything. The Galio could be a target, but is trying to back it up here. Bin overheating, Elk putting some damage in. Bin is actually going to flash out. BLG out of sorts over by this dragon. This was not a good setup whatsoever, but they are going to go back in. They're looking for Alvaro. Do force out the ultimate. Knight getting some poke down. Great equalizer across multiple members here as On is looking for the engage. He finds it now onto Elyoya, but MKOI are looking to turn around. The bullet time coming through across multiple members. Supa gets a kill and goes on a killing spree. Knight trying to finish him off on the side. He has to wait for the cooldowns, looking for it. The weirding, the twofold hex is going to grab him the kill, and now Beichuan flashing forward into the MKOI base. They're diving the inhibitor towers here at only 18 minutes into the game. They keep them interested. They wait for the Pantheon. He respawns. They get the kills and the tier 2 tower.
I'm amazed that BLG made that fight work. this was a 4v5. It felt like that they just watched the dragon go down, but you nailed it in that they kept KOI interested. You can see that KOI wanted a base, but they kind of kept trading back and forth, and so they stayed a little too long on the map. That meant that the poke that was coming through from BLG was sticking. They were chipping away at the HP bars of KOI until they committed a little bit too hard, and then the turnaround engage comes through. A nice ulti from Elk, followed up by the damage from Knight and the Pantheon ultimate to close things out. BLG converted that play into a massive gold advantage.
I mean, Knight getting the resets here, just hopping forward, knew the exact limits of his champion there, able to kill off Supa through the barrier. Finishes him just barely. Beichuan arrives, flashes in, they get another kill. That mid-jungle advantage massive now here for BLG as they're nearly 5,000 gold ahead. Only good news for MKOI, at least they did get the dragon, at least they were able to stave off Soul Point. But they're going to need some individual outplays here if they're going to try to get anything done. Jojo connecting on pretty much everything, but Knight really just not bothered by it whatsoever. Stays around and takes down that tier 1 top.
Those 2 early kills have just done wonders for Knight in terms of his position in this game. He's continued to keep the pressure in the mid lane. He's played the fights very patiently and very well. And again, we go back to that dragon. My concern for BLG is sometimes they just commit to these fights that just don't really make sense. We saw it in the LPL playoffs, and I thought that we were seeing it again here, trying to force a 4v5 when there's no objective on the map. This doesn't make sense, but they played it patiently, they bought enough time, and now they have such a significant lead. It's just red at the bottom of your screen with the gold advantages aplenty. Another Haunting Guys picked up for Knight, stacking up that extra damage. The Rakan becoming the point of focus for BLG now. As KOI, they're going to be looking for a fight. The scaling is starting to come through, but again, a lot of responsibility falls onto Supa and Jojo, and it feels like that it's very difficult for Supa to play out these fights, given this Pantheon is just sending it at every opportunity.
I mean, it is really, really tough. Pantheon now on 2 fully completed items, as has been. You can see that Knight is on triple mask here. The IE is done for Elk. Everyone on BLG is ready to fight, and that's why they're threatening this Rakan. They're saying, you don't get to sit back. No, you're going to have to come fight us now. While Jojo's just sitting on components. While your Galio doesn't have his second item. You know, the only person with that second item is going to be Supa, obviously with that cheaper build here on the Varus, and him having picked up 4 kills. But a lot of pressure on him to try to be able to find something. MKOI, though, doing a good job just maintaining some control here of vision in the area so they can check in and make sure they have eyes on if BLG is starting this up. And now they will get the news that they are. Jojopyun over in the middle lane is going to be cutting down. The teleport coming in now from Knight. He is looking to force this MKOI in the area. The TP coming in from Joja. And we can see Elyoya going to go for it. Is he going to be able to steal it? It's a flip, and it's going to be taken there by Beichuan. The re-engage comes in from Alvaro, and Jojo goes into the back line, but it's Elk going to be able to grab the first kill. Bin overheats, and in comes the Galio ultimate over the top as Beichuan trying to reach the back line. Knight on the side here with On, getting pretty low on HP. The bullet time comes out there from Elk. He's going to grab 1 kill, and he's going to grab a second. Now it's a triple kill there for Elk. He's looking for more. It's a quadra, and he's going to be chasing after Supa. He wants that penta, and we'll see if he can actually catch up to Supa. Does have the strut for the move speed, but Supa will be able to get out to safety. BLG, though, coming up clutch in that fight. Beichuan secures the Rakan, and it's a quadra as well for Elk.
BLG with the controlled aggression. They do such a good job of forcing KOI into these fights that they're just not in a position to take. The wallet difference is too big. We see the Maokai ultimate come through. The equalizer does a lot of damage initially, stopping KOI from really getting a good follow-up. Then it looks like the engage is good, but look at the positioning of Elk. Very safe on the back line. Knight does a huge amount of damage as well. Throws out the ultimate to get onto the back line, onto Jojo, playing around with Supa, who's now in an awkward spot, and then Elk holds onto the ultimate until just the right amount of time. Connects onto 3, absolutely melts the MKOI members, and he secures himself the quadra.
Very close to the penta as well, and now BLG right back out on the map. They're going to be able to move to Soul Point here. 8,000, the gold lead nearly. Look at Elk in that last team fight. Doubling everyone pretty much here. Over 6,000 damage poured out in that one fight.
BLG have demonstrated so well why, when you give this much control in the early game, how difficult it can be to play against. Beichuan played with zero hesitation. He was constantly playing in Elyoya's jungle. He was stealing a lot of his camps. He was building up good advantages. and BLG have played the fights very well, constantly forcing KOI into these unfavorable situations where they can't really get the fight that they're looking for. You look at how strong Knight is compared to Jojo, and even though Jojo landed a nice ultimate before, it just wasn't significant enough. KOI definitely find themselves on the back foot, and they're going to need a crazy outplay to turn this game around.
I mean, it's just the crazy thing is how fast they are actually pushing the pace of the game. I mean, it's not even like Jojo has no farm, right? He's not that far below 10 CS per minute. He's not chain feeding or anything. It's just that Knight has grabbed a bunch of kills. They're constantly forcing at objectives. They're knocking down towers. They're accumulating gold from all sources so fast that MKOI has not been able to keep up so far in this game number 1. And On now looking for an angle, trying to see if he can find a flank here. Is going to go back in onto the Alistar and will commit the ultimate here. Alvaro trying to get out of there, but he's going to be slowed down. Flashes back in, tries to turn the fight around, but it's going to be Bin knocked down first. Galio looking now. Knight on the side here. Could look for a re-engage. On clearly hunting for one. Elk is on the side. It does have the bullet time ready. For now, though, it is 1 for 0 here for MKOI.
Catch BLG off guard. BLG trying to gain control over the top side, getting ready to set up for the Baron. But KOI punishing. Ooh, Jojo, he's fishing. Takes so much damage.
Yeah, the weirding and the twofold hex from Knight alone is half your HP.
The spacing from Knight is very clean. So KOI, they alleviate some of the pressure. They get some vision control back on their top side. And a pick definitely slows BLG down, but I imagine BLG is still going to try and force this Baron the moment that it becomes an option for them. We've already seen them do it so many times this game. They know they have the item advantage. I mean, you can see that Myrwn isn't even fully stacked for Supa. That's how far behind they are. They've really been struggling to keep up with the pace of the game. And now the TP comes through.
They're just going to start it.
And without any hesitation, yeah, BLG will force the issue once more.
Yep, they're going to start it right here, right now. Bin just picked up the Seekers. He is ready to go. Alvaro trying to create some space. Remember, he has no ultimate. Neither does the Galio. So those key tools will be missing, but BLG tanking that Baron. It's only 25 minutes into the game. It still hurts quite a lot. They have to be respectful to that. And we'll just back off, allowing MKOI to reclaim some vision in the area and buying some time for Jojo head down towards that bot lane, potentially go for one of these outers and maybe claim their first tower, maybe claim a bounty.
Oh, you're right. KOI actually haven't gotten a tower yet this game. They are, yeah, they really haven't just gained any control in this game at all. So BLG, they kind of have choices now. They can continue to pressure on the Baron if they want to, or they can just wait for the Dragon. No reason to overextend. Like 3 items finished on Elk. We can see that Beichuan with a 3-level lead over his jungle opponent. 2 levels now, but and 10 stacks on the Magi. I mean, Knight, he loves his Magi.
He loves his Magi. This guy has never seen a bad Magi's game.
He is a very confident player, and he has every right to be, especially given a scoreline of 3-0 and 7, but involved in 10 of the team's 11 kills.
I will say it's definitely a concern as well. This Galio obviously had to build some early MR, wants to go into the Riftmaker to be able to have a little bit of extra damage here, but LDR is done for Elk. The only armor on the entire team is the cloth armor in the Ninja Tabbies. That's it. So this MF, if Elk is able to get a good bullet time, it is going to be curtains here for MKOI. They have got to be really on point about being in position to either avoid it or interrupt it immediately when it does go off there. As Jojo going to be the target now. We'll have to trade ultis here with Beichuan. Gets himself out to safety. Beichuan, no flash to follow. Jojo just trying to get his farm in. Does have that second item with the completed shield bow. But it is going to be difficult here. Definitely wants to get in towards the 3rd, 4th item. Try to catch up, try to get a little bit more on even keel here with BLG. But BLG, only 50 seconds until a potential soul, and they're just not willing to sit back. They never want to give MKOI any time.
And the timing of this is fantastic as well, because you'll notice the base comes through from both Knight and Elk at exactly the same time. The Pantheon ultimate was just used, but it's likely going to be unavailable for the Dragon fight, but that's okay, because the waves had already been pushed in. They come back out onto the map. Knight now grouping up with his team, just kind of abandoning the top side, but Jojo, he's too afraid to play that deep on the top side of the map. So BLG continue to have full control. They know they have a huge experience advantage. Now they're setting up for the Dragon. TP going to come through. It's going to be spotted out. Knight's going to try and punish this.
Oh, doesn't have the timing right there with the weirding and the twofold hex. Thankfully for Jojo, because that would have been his teleport, and that would have been potentially 30, 40, 50% of his HP. Could have been very difficult fight that they would have been looking at. Bin, though, level 16 now, has The equalizer ready here and is going to be terrifying if he can find an angle to get it. Elk not quite level 16. Equalizer goes in and on is looking for the engage. Great interrupt on the bullet time though from Alvaro, but Myrwn's down already here. He's going to be trying to run away as it's actually Elyoya did fall. Beichuan going for it is going to be able to get the second kill. It's BLG running over the fight as Supa has to flash out to safety. Elk trying to survive but not going to be able to do it as Jojopyun knocks him down. Knight and Bin on the other side are winning the fight, but Beichuan and On trying to survive here against Alvaro and Jojopyun. It's really up to Jojo now to try to make something happen. On running for it, Alvaro has no way out, and Bin and Knight are rejoining with the team here. BLG winning another fight, knocking MKOI back, and are going to be able to claim the soul as a result.
BLG is just so fast with how quickly they engage. You'll notice that the moment KOI was in that choke point was the opportunity that they needed to force the issue. Bin looking for a collapse onto Jojo. Knight here as well.
Knight. Jojo's in trouble, trying to dodge out as much damage as he possibly can, but the Seekers is there, and that's all Bin needs. Jojo gets cooked up as BLG take the kill, take the soul, and take everything in this game.
We're going to look back at the MasterCard priceless moment of what was the soul fight in favor of BLG. So again, KOI, they get position in the river, but then they kind of get funneled into this choke point, and Bin doesn't hesitate. He just drops the Rumble ultimate down. On is right there to follow up. Alvaro, good target selection, trying to keep Elk preoccupied, but Knight is just hitting whatever target he can, and he is dishing out serious damage. He goes onto the back line, he gets his ulti off, he turns his attention onto Supa, forcing him to flash away. Knight then chases the issue, and even though Elk goes down, the fight is already so BLG favored. Very well executed fight from BLG.
You can see the frustration there on Elyoya's face as he knows this game going to be almost impossible to come back in now. BLG have controlled the pace the entire game long, and they even have an incredible advantage just from the pedals. The adaptive force is equivalent to 443 gold advantage per player from pedals, so another 2,200 gold worth of stats on top of the soul, on top of the 11.5k gold lead here as well. So really, you're looking at, you know, above a 16,000 gold lead as far as the stats are concerned here for BLG. Nearly impossible for MKOI to come back. We'll see if they can find some heroics, some sort of a pick before the fight starts. Might be the only way they could try to even up the game here a little bit.
I mean, I will say that this level of aggression is something that KOI is likely not used to on the domestic level. In Europe, you don't get punished like this. With these type of pushing waves, the amount of aggression that we're seeing in the jungle, the way that BLG just seamlessly move from objective to objective and just constantly force KOI into these fights, that speed of play is not something that you see a lot domestically and something that BLG is very well known for. And they've done a fantastic job here in Game 1 of this series. They've set their sights now on the Tier 3 turrets of KOI's base, but it feels like a foregone conclusion. Can Alvaro find an engage?
Alvaro looking.
Ooh.
It's going to be Jojopyun, though, who is getting sent packing there. Poked down incredibly low. The shield bow did proc as well. Knight working on this mid lane inhibitor tower as Galio trying desperately to clear out the wave. Not going to be able to do it. They're going to drop the equalizer here. Supa is in trouble. Beichuan flying into the back line already. Alvaro trying to turn around. Supa's going to be targeted, and Supa's trying to stand. He's trying to fight. He does get a kill here, and now BLG potentially in some trouble. Knight, great stasis. The taunt not going to be able to connect as a result. Alvaro, though, interrupts the hop. Beichuan going back in. Galio coming through. The bullet time, buying space for the team to get out. They are able to escape. Knight stays alive, as does Beichuan. Close fight there from MKOI. Really well done, all things considered, but still, BLG continue the push here. Elk is healthy, has so much lifesteal. Elyoya is out of mana at this point. Knight is pushing in for that mid lane inhibit. BLG going to keep the pressure rolling. Bin overheats as Jojo gets a good chunk down onto him. Knight looking. Galio now back from base here, looking to get involved in the action, but BLG too low. Will decide to make the call to just back off. MKOI actually against the odds, keeping both of their inhibitors alive.
I think KOI did a good job of utilizing the tower to make the fight harder for BLG. BLG naturally, I mean, with the gold lead that they have, should feel confident at trying to force this dive, but I think they went a little too deep and their execution wasn't quite there. This gave KOI a very small window to turn the fight around, and it ends up just being a 1-for-1, but when you're at this kind of deficit, you'll take any advantage that you can get. They've been able to stall for now, but those towers are gone. The inhibitors are exposed to BLG. They're on the hunt.
Elyoya going to be spotted out. Will have to flash out of there as in came the quickness and the grand entrance from On. Going to be able to get that summoner very quickly. Jojo does have his Infinity Edge completed now, so he's going to be putting out some real hurt in these team fights. Unfortunately for him, both Bin and Knight have completed their Zonias. So the Seekers was broken, but they have that upgraded item through. On, going to take a big chunk of damage there from Supa, Jojo, and Elyoya, down to about half HP. With the rest of BLG still in the area, trying to get these waves pushing in their favor and maintaining vision control here. Even if BLG can't close out during these next couple minutes, they will have their eyes on this Elder, and that is going to be so tough for MKOI to get out and contest.
Exactly. It's an easy solution in that BLG can say, okay, fine. It's a little dangerous for us to just walk into your base. Why don't we instead just force you out of your base?
Is Hunting going to go between worlds, does connect on the two-fold hex. He just takes him down. It's a solo in the face of Myrwn. Can't do anything to help him out. He knows if he sticks around to fight, BLG are going to be able to come in and just finish off the game. Jojopyun was still pushing top lane here, so BLG now will get him back into the base, knock down these inhibitors that MKOI was able to defend. And then they're likely just going to reset and try to prepare for this Elder Dragon, but Elk is completely unbothered. They're just staying around. They don't even have the waves until just now. This minion wave going to be coming in through bot lane. It is not a super minion wave. It is not baroned up, so it could be wave cleared by MKOI. That is going to be the goal here. As Alvaro takes a lot of poke there on the side, is going to have to go back to the fountain and try to heal up. They're trying to buy time here for Elyoya. 10 seconds until he responds. Equalizer going to get dropped onto Jojopyun. Locket comes out from Alvaro, is able to avoid most of that damage. And they will finally now back off. They just don't have the minions to actually close the game. Maokai respawns, and MKOI will live to fight another day.
They will. I mean, I felt like Knight had just said, okay, this game's gone on long enough. I'll take matters into my own hands. A beautiful solo kill from him. 25 stacks on the Mejai's. He's full built. The Zhonya's is now finished. Knight is extremely difficult to take out of this game. 6-0 and 10, a flawless scoreline. And KOI, they're doing their best to be in a position to challenge this Elder, but with 2 inhibitors down, BLG can just buy their time. They can wait for that bot wave to start knocking on the doors.
Oh, they're going to look to engage, and it's going to be Elk. Elk is caught out. Can they knock him down? The CC is there, and they get the kill onto him. They're going to grab a second as well. MKOI roar to life here as Knight gets a big chunk down onto Jojopyun. Can they force the hand of BLG? They need to get the Elder, and they need to get the Elder right now. They can't allow BLG to have time for the respawns. BLG, though, do have both their solo laners available, and they have their jungler. They look like they want to fight. The equalizer is going to be used, and in comes the Pantheon ulti. Knight is looking, and Knight is hunting for Jojo. Jojo stays alive on the side. He's life stealing off the Elder Dragon. It's going to be Myrwn trying to create some space here. Supa flashes back, but Ben takes him down anyway. The solos from BLG and the jungler in a 3v5, too far ahead. They don't care about the numbers. They've got the quality, and they are TPing in to look to put the finishing touches onto a beautiful game one. Ben and Knight, eyes on the Nexus now. It's all up to Jojopyun. Can he make a miracle happen here at home? The Zhonya's going to be popped here. Jojo chunked incredibly low as Ben comes out of that stasis and looks like he's going to be able to finish him off with the Electro Harpoon. BLG make no doubt about it. They put on the full court press all game long. Relentless aggression nets them the win in game number 1.
A moment of hope for MKOI as they find a pick onto Elk in the mid lane. But the team fighting comes through still from the 3 remaining members. Impressive stuff from BLG as they did nothing but put the pressure onto MKOI here in game 1.
Incredible stuff from BLG. The fans may have predicted MKOI to win, but BLG sends a clear message. This is our rift. Analysts, take us through game 1.